What's up? What's up? Hey, Facebook Live, beautiful family tuning in. It's Sarah. Tonight is the full moon. Full moon, new moon, two of my favorites. And so tonight, I thought I would support whoever is really kind of in that space of wanting to really let shit go this full moon, right? Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I can't tell you how many phone calls I've gotten with people. Hey, beautiful Chandra, how are you, girl? I've gotten so many phone calls about, this Venus retrograde, all this stuff, and everybody's like, their emotions are churning, and so by the time the full moon hits, right, that's like the culmination of everything, and everything's coming together, and it's just like, it's like the pot is boiling, right, with all of the emotions, and so many people dealing with releasing and letting go of relationships, and some of them very emotionally abusive and just weird, right? And God, I can't tell you how many phone calls I've had. So this video is also for you guys. Hi Rachel, how are you? Thanks for watching. I went to Barnes & Noble the other day and picked up some amazing, hi Mike, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the hearts, guys. I went to Barnes & Noble and I was just like, okay, there were two really solid books that I wanted to get, and then there were a couple other ones that just like popped out at me. And one of them is Moonology, right? And I've always been kind of flowing my life with the moon, the new moon and full moon, and releasing on the full moon, setting intentions on the new moon. And there's a passage in here that I want to share with you guys too, because it was so beautiful and so brilliant on just how to really let go and be clear with yourself, just so that nothing is holding you in that stagnant kind of energy, right? When we're holding on to stuff, it offsets our energy field, it offsets our emotional field, and then it stops actually our manifesting. It stops being able to bring things to us. And not only that, but whatever energy we are in will attract then that energy. Hey Sevi, how are you? Wow, awesome, good, glad you're watching. And so tonight, before I'm going to head to this beautiful, one of my friends is doing this amazing candlelight meditation, I thought I would make a quick live for you guys and give you some tips on really just getting really grounded with your emotions and releasing those, whatever they are. And remembering that it's not about, like, whenever we forgive and whenever we get back into gratitude, it doesn't make, because I'm thinking of the many phone calls that I've had, right, with friends that are just so stuck in feeling in hurt and suffering. And we all go through that, right? It doesn't matter what it is. Anything could show up and really emotionally hit you during the full moon, right? And to really let go of that, we're saying, and to really to really forgive and get back into gratitude, we're saying that we value ourselves. We're saying that it doesn't matter what anybody or anything or any situation was or did or whatever. It doesn't make it right or wrong. We fully kind of step away from the whole judgment of it. And forgiveness doesn't mean that we're okaying something. You know, you could have a situation that you're just like, that sucked ass. And it's not okay, right? And yet at the same time, again, the forgiveness and getting back into gratitude is for you and your own peace and your own expansion and getting back to your own flow of your energy, right? So, jumping into tips. Thank you for the hearts. Doing well and drunk. Hey. Awesome. If that's your thing on the full moon, great. Well, the tips I'm about to share, maybe you should do 3 of the steps and maybe just not the last one, because it involves a little fire and I don't want you burning the house down. Hey Eric, flow and grow, exactly. So one of the major things is make a list. Just like get out of your head and write it down. Hey Armando, live every moment. Thanks honey. Can't wait to talk to you next week. So getting out of your head, getting all of the conversation, the junk, the whatever story, whatever all of that is, glow and grow. That's awesome. And getting it down on paper. So taking it out of your head and really, really writing it down. And it doesn't matter what it is or who it is. And it doesn't matter when it was. It could be something that you want to forgive that happened way back in your childhood. It could be something that happened yesterday. It could be the most intense feeling, and it could be just something that just made you go, like, I don't know, that just didn't sit right with me, right? Just whatever it is that's in your field, just write it down, write down who was involved, like who it is that you're actually wanting to create forgiveness with, and specifically what they did. And more than what they did, how it made you feel. Because getting in touch with our emotions and paying attention to that inner child and those emotions is so much more important, right, than the story of what we tell ourselves, and really validating those emotions, but then willing to forgive and release them, right? So make the list, write it all down, everything in detail, as much as you can remember. Cool, thanks for the thumbs up, awesome. Release or release? Sure. Love that. Okay, making the list. And then closing your eyes and going through each one and visualizing. Thank you for the thumbs up and the hearts. Thanks, Debbie. Making the list, right? And going over each one and visualizing that person or that situation or whatever it is, visualizing that in your mind's eye. And I would personally visualize that. I'll give you guys a little subconscious technique, right? I would visualize you looking at it as if you're watching a movie, right? So you're not looking through your own eyes and seeing the person, you're actually looking at the two of you or the situation or the three of you, whatever it is, right? And so really stepping out of that takes you out of the emotion. You've already brought up the emotion and writing it down, right? But it makes you the observer of the situation as opposed to being entangled in all of it. So once you're visualizing that situation, that person, whatever, three-person POV, exactly, third-person POV, exactly. Once you're visualizing that, feel where it feels in the body. Get in touch with that feeling in the body. And then visualize, some people like to use pink light, right? Visualize something that's very cleansing or a color that really resonates with you. People associate pink with love. So what I also like to do, if you guys know how to use chi energy, I like to bring in chi into my solar plexus and breathe all of that in and breathe some into my heart. And then we have these energy fields called these multiple layers of our auric field, right? And it's called the biofield. And so when I breathe all of that in, I actually like to visualize it blowing out and clearing each one of the fields, right? And then visualizing that person in front of you and having them turn to you, and no matter what the story was, no matter what the scenario actually was, right? Visualize them, hey Santiago, visualize them smiling at you, right? And like I said, this could be really potentially a little bit harder if you're feeling more emotionally sensitive to something, but really getting to that place of gratitude for the lessons that were learned, right? Because there's always something to be learned. Hey, beautiful Anna, I miss you, love. And so really getting in touch with gratitude, and then seeing them smiling at you will be a little bit easier. And seeing you be able to smile back at them, right? And as you're smiling back at them, in your mind's eye, visualize yourself saying, I forgive you. Like actually telling them, I forgive you. And feeling that place, right? And really getting in touch with that. And so after you've done that for however many different situations you got, take the piece of paper and, oh, wait, no, hang on. Let me go back one step. Because sometimes when we're focused on forgiving other people, right, Peace, yummy, exactly, right? This is for your self peace. Like whatever they did or didn't do, or whatever the situation or story is, like it has nothing to do with you if it's not affecting your peace. So the more that you can get in touch with your own inner peace, and realizing the situation, again, not judging it and not condoning some things, right? But really the peace is for you, because their process is going to be their own process, right? But what I was going to say is, another step that I like to do is, we always think about forgiving other people, right? And the benefit that is. And yet at the same time, we don't always remember to actually turn around and forgive ourselves for whatever situation. And what I mean by that is, I know you guys know this conversation that happens in the mind, right? The like, how could I have been so stupid to miss that one? How did I let that happen? Like, I know better than this. Like, you know, whatever it is, we all have that internal judgment conversation in us. And so visualizing, almost pulling yourself in the third observer position again, pulling yourself out, and this time instead pulling yourself out and looking at yourself and turning around and doing that same technique and visually seeing yourself standing in front of you and saying, I forgive you. I forgive you for whatever it is, whatever judgment you had on yourself, whatever thought you're having about yourself, or whatever you just think you should have done, shouldn't done, blah, 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 all of the story, right? And so turning it back on yourself is the other thing that we sometimes forget to do. And so when that's complete, right, take the piece of paper and take the whole list of all of this stuff and all of this story and all this energy and burn it safely. Very safely. Somewhere in the kitchen, right? Hey, Ronnie. And taking that and burning it is such a ritualistic process, because it takes something that's tangible and it turns it into a different energy. So energy can never be disappeared, right? But it only changes form. And so you're changing its form as you're releasing it energetically through your emotional state and your energy body and your auric field. Then you're changing the tangible state of it on piece of paper, right? Words are magic, right? And when we write them and when we speak them, and sometimes people don't always speak such nice things, but sometimes we don't always speak such nice things to ourselves. So maybe that's another process that you will, there's a lovely siren, see? It's confirming. Maybe we don't always think about writing down the negative conversations and judgment that we have about ourselves, because that's just as much of an uncool person as somebody else being uncool and saying something not so rad to you, right? So being able to that's another perspective. Transferable energy, yes, exactly. Hang on, do you guys have any questions? Thank you for the reminder of forgiving ourselves. Exactly, right? Hey, I'm right there with you. I am not perfect. I'm losing the light here, and it's almost time to go to my meditation. But what I wanted to read to you guys before this, from my beautiful Moonology book, that's studying the cycles of the moon and how you can just increase your productivity and success and just being in the energy of that. And yes, the moon is very feminine, but for every woman, we also, for every man, you have a feminine side, and for every woman, obviously, the feminine side as well. But I wanted to read this to you, and if you guys want to replay this on the video and just to kind of hear it over and over again, this is almost like a little bit of a mantra for this full moon, right? It's more of a paragraph mantra, but so under the glorious full moon, I forgive everything, everyone, and every experience, and every memory of the past or present that needs forgiveness. I forgive positively everyone. I also forgive myself of past mistakes. The universe is love, and I am forgiven and governed by love and love alone. Love is now adjusting my life. Realizing this, I abide in peace. There's one more part to it. I bring love and healing to all of my thoughts, beliefs, and relationships. That includes the relationship with yourself. I learn my lessons and move on. I call on my soul fragments. This is a really important one. I call on my soul fragments to be cleansed by the full moon, and I call on them to rejoin me. So sometimes when we're in anger, frustration, upset, whatever it is, we start thinking too much, and it fragments. I'll say it fragments. There's dimensional selves that we have, right? And so it's not to keep those different dimensional selves constantly active. It's actually you want to bring those back in, and those are all different parts of ourselves and different personalities. But when they're out there floating around, right? We want to be able to bring them back in, because that's actually an energy release in and of itself, or excuse me, it's an energy drain in and of itself. So there's a different technique that I do with some of my clients, where it's actually you take the two different or the multiple different parts of yourself, which is related to your soul, and you actually find how they all relate to each other. Sorry guys, I know it's getting dark. I was outside, so but finding where they all relate to each other, so that all those internal parts of you aren't thinking something different or having a different agenda, right? So it's really bringing everybody kind of together. Message me if you have any deeper questions on that, because that's a much longer kind of conversation. So I call on my soul fragments to be cleansed by the full moon, and I call on them to rejoin me. I send love to myself and everyone I know, and everyone who knows me, in all directions of time. Under this glorious full moon, I am healed. My life is healed, and so it is, so it be. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I know everybody's experiencing something on the full moon. That's just how it goes. But yeah, I hope some of those techniques helped. If you want to kind of sit back in meditation and just make that list of everything, and then really just give it up, and while burning it, just really letting it go. And the next 2 weeks up until we hit the new moon is the unraveling process and the full letting go process. And so letting your body and your emotions and everything just release that, because you don't need it. It's not, I always say, if it's not fun, don't do it. Like, follow the fun. I'm getting so much more like specific and really honoring that, because that's self-value. So you get to set really strong boundaries for that for yourself. So wanted to share that with you guys. I'm gonna head to an amazing, amazing deep meditation of my friends over some candlelight. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I'm always open here for you guys. So thank you for tuning in. Let me double check if there's any questions. Let's rock it until equinox. Exactly. Harmony and forgiveness. Exactly. Hey James, how are you? This one's gonna be good for you too. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thanks, Sevi. All right, I know it's getting really dark and you guys can barely see me, so sorry for that, but Facebook Live doesn't ever have to be perfect, right? Because none of us are. And even if doing this isn't perfect, don't try to think about whether it's going to be perfect or not. Just get in touch with whatever it is that you want to let go, and know that it's like a ball and chain that's holding you down. And no matter what the situation is, it doesn't mean that forgiving and getting into gratitude, it doesn't condone anything. So I really want to honor whatever emotions are coming up for you, and remind you that it doesn't make something that happened, forgiving it doesn't condone it, right? And so you can still set your healthy boundaries, but it's releasing that slough off of you, so that then you can step further into your power and your purpose, and have so much more clarity and creativity. All of these things get stagnant, right? When we're drained down by all of these different emotions and stuff like that. So yeah, really stepping into allowing yourself and valuing yourself to really step into that, and what that looks like. Holy crap, it's getting really dark. Okay, I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. I'll make, this wasn't a tap in, so I'll make a tap in maybe on Monday or something like that. So thank you guys for joining. Bye.